Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Dwayne Kimball, United States Army veteran and retired VA rating specialist. In today's video, I am going to answer the question, do you have to report to a VA C&P exam when you submit an actionable and sufficient DBQ with a Nexus? Now, this answer is not coming from me. I'm going to give you the VA's answer. So make sure you stick around. So before we get into today's video, make sure you go out to my website, pick up my new book, VA Claim Success. I know it is a game changer as it pertains to the VA disability compensation claims process. So today's video, a lot of veterans have been asking me, Dwayne, I submitted a DBQ and Nexus. Do I have to go to the exam? And my answer is always to them, if it's actionable and sufficient, it is up to you. You have to make that decision at the end of the day, okay? To help answer your question, it's not, Dwayne, should I go? I'm going to show you the VA regulation that states when you should and when you shouldn't go, okay? A lot of VA employees do not know about this regulation, and when veterans do submit an actionable and sufficient DBQ, they're automatically requesting a C&P exam. Now, this regulation I'm going to show you, if you decide not to go, you can argue this on a high-level review, and I'll explain that as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. Slide number 1. Here in slide number 1, you can see the 38 CFR, Code of Federal Regulation, examinations. I'm going to read to you what I have highlighted in red for Section A and what I have highlighted in red for Section B. Section A, where there is a claim for disability compensation or pension, but medical evidence accompanying the claim is not adequate for rating purposes, a Department of Veterans Affairs examination will be authorized. Give you an example. You come in and you claim an increase in your back and you submit a Nexus. Me as a former VA rater, I'm requesting a C&P exam because the Nexus is not what I need because a Nexus does not have all the range of motions. Now, let's say you submit an increase for your service-connected back condition and you submit a DBQ. First thing I'm looking at, is this DBQ actionable and sufficient? If it is, I'm going to go ahead and rate the claim. If it's not actionable and sufficient, I'm going to request a C&P exam, okay? Now, as it pertains to actionable and sufficient, veterans, it is not your definition of actionable and sufficient. It's the VA's definition of actionable and sufficient. Our clients, when they see one of the C&P examiners after they opt into one of our educational services or educational packet, we review that DBQ and Nexus, if it's needed, to make sure it's actionable and sufficient. Myself and my team were trained by the VA to ensure the DBQs were actionable and sufficient. Now, Section B, provided that it is otherwise adequate, meaning evidence for rating purposes, any hospital report or any examination report, they're talking about DBQs, from any government or private institution, your private doctor, may be accepted for rating a claim without further examination. There you have it, people. That's your answer. It's not coming from Dwayne. It's coming from the VA's 38 CFR 3.326 examinations. If you have a actionable and sufficient DBQ with the Nexus, depending on how you're claiming it, they're telling you no exam is needed. A claim without further examination. So veterans ask me again, Dwayne, should I go? At the end of the day, you have to make that decision. I'm not going to make it for you. Because if you decide not to go and you don't know this regulation and you still get denied, oh, Dwayne gave me some bad information. No, I didn't. I'm educating you so you can make the best informed decision as it pertains to your VA claim. Now, moving right along, slide number 2. This is the M21. Using medical evidence in lieu of examination. As noted in 38 CFR 3.326, I just showed it to you. Medical evidence of record may be deemed adequate for rating purposes to make a decision on a claim without requesting an examination. People, why is it so hard for certain individuals to understand this reference and the previous regulation that I just gave you? No one should be asking me, Dwayne, should I go? I'm giving you your answer right here. Okay? What I have underlined. Generally, in a claim for SC, service connection, for medical evidence of record to be considered adequate for rating purposes, the evidence must include sufficient details to establish both service connection and the current level of disability. Now, the current level of disability, talking about not only service connection, but increases as well. If the evidence of record includes information sufficient to grant service connection, but there is a question as to the appropriate evaluation, meaning the percentage, 0, 10, 50, whatever, an examination would generally be needed prior to deciding the claim. There you have it. The answer is not coming from Dwayne Kimball. I just gave you the answer from the VA's 38 CFR and the M21 manual reference. Now, if you decide to go to that exam after submitting an actionable and sufficient DBQ, you need to know what could happen. And what we've been seeing happen, meaning my company, myself, and my team, when a veteran submits an actionable and sufficient DBQ and it's positive, and they decide to go to that exam, and that exam says something totally different, and there's a negative opinion, 9 times out of 10, what we've been seeing raters do, probative value, more weight to their examiner to deny the claim. Now, if you submit an actionable and sufficient DBQ and you decide not to go and they deny the claim, I just gave you the regulation that you can argue on a high-level review. But you have to be educated to know if your DBQ and Nexus, if needed, is actionable and sufficient. And let me tell you, it's not, oh, my doctor has been a doctor for 25 years, so I know they know how to fill out the paperwork. No. Oh, I'm a veteran, I just know what makes it actionable and sufficient. No. Get with somebody that has been trained and understands what makes a DBQ and Nexus, if needed, actionable and sufficient. Now, yeah, I would love for you to become a client, and we can do that. But if you decide to go somewhere else, ask that person, a lawyer, VSO, hey, have you had training from the VA to determine if a DBQ and Nexus, if needed, is actionable and sufficient? I know I can say yes. I know I can say yes about my team, because guess what? We've all been trained by the VA when we were raters, okay? So at the end of the day, decision has to be yours, but I just gave you the VA's answer to your question, okay? Now, as a former VA rater, every time I got an actionable and sufficient DBQ, I wasn't requesting an exam. I was rating the case, boom, send the veteran on about their way. But raters today are not doing that in most cases. So that's why it's so important to get educated if you find yourself in this particular situation, okay? So don't ask me, don't leave me a comment and say, Dwayne, Should I go or shouldn't I go? And I'm gonna say, watch the entire video. Look at this, the 38 CFR and the M21 manual reference that I provided in the video. Once you get educated on that, then you make the decision yourself. If you're someone that don't want to put up a fight, you might want to go to the exam. If you're someone that's like, I'm gonna put up a fight, I'm gonna hold the VA to their own regulations and not go, and you're gonna fight them tooth and nail, I just gave you the 38 CFR and the M21 manual reference that you can argue on a high-level review. So, with that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't forget to share this video with your fellow veterans. Thank you.